part of this journey, I mean, really, and as of late, I mean, it's been that union with Billy. And how did that all start? I mean, I know, besides the fact he was a huge wrestling fan, but how did that, start with you guys?
So Billy, has been a wrestling fan. Famously, Paul Heyman wanted him to invest $1 million in ECW for 10%, I think in 2000, and he turned it down because he didn't get any kind of creative input. Heyman just wanted his money. And so I met Billy sometime in the mid 2000s, and we kind of always stayed in touch. So when he came to Impact in I think 2014 or 15, I don't remember the exact year, he remembered me, and we have obviously always clicked well creatively and personally, so that when things started to crater an Impact, and he saw what he calls it Game of Thrones. When the Game of Thrones happened at Impact. Mm-hmm. We became allies, and I just basically said to him, I'm with you. Whatever happens in this, like, I don't want to be here if it's not with you, and because I kind of knew a little bit about the people, the players, and once you pick a side in a Game of Thrones situation, you are marked. So when we didn't end up with the company, I knew it was not going to go well, and I was told, and it's not even anybody that ended up with piece of the company. I was told I was on a list. And I remember talking to, I think it was Ed Nordholm who ran the company. I said, I heard him on some list. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, this person is telling these three people that me, this talent, because we sided with Billy, are going to be marginalized. I said, and it's one of the reasons I'm deciding to leave is because if this is who you're aligned with, I'm just not interested. I said, I've done nothing wrong except protect my friend's interest, who, by the way, paid $1.8 million to keep everyone employed while Dixie had cratered the company. My loyalty is to whoever's paying me. And at that time, Billy was, with no guarantee. And, so that's where we kind of bonded. And then we really dove into doing this. Like, I made 30 documentaries with him in 30 days.
Yeah.
That was really eye-opening because I wanted to prove to him, look what we can do quickly. And great, we'll have more quality, but the world moves at that pace where we're recording this podcast. It'll probably go up within a day. And so, it's in the old days, you would produce it, you'd edit it. It would take, a week, months to produce something, come out. Everything moves so fast that we aligned on it. And he's built, he was one of the first people to say, this streaming thing is going to be a lot bigger than people said it. He said it in 1999 for music. And, he's been always ahead of the curve on this. And that's what our point with Power is, okay, yes, being on television would be great, but there's a barrier of entry and a cost to it. How do we do the same thing at a cost that's acceptable? And, for him to take a risk, and he's using his own personal money. It's not my money, it's my time. But that's why I kind of always defer to him on what vision he wants, because he's the one funding it, but I want to make sure that it's exactly what the market's there, and we talk about it a lot. And, we communicate all day, and it's, I'll get a message here. He'll call me this time. We'll talk about this thing. We'll try this, and it's probably the best work environment I've ever had in my life.
In all the organizations you work through, and it's, some of them not the best experiences, and you have this deep down love for wrestling, but did it dim it? And I mean, were there times you're saying, I've just got to get out of this business? And like we said before, Godfather 3, they pulled you back in. I mean, why do that?
So after the Impact, I hate to use the word debacle, because I did enjoy a lot of what I did creatively, but as far as a business thing, it was a debacle. 2016, that 2002 WWE and 2016 TNA are probably the two best stories that have never really been fully told. Okay. But leaving, Billy and I, when we were on the 30 days trip, I remember we were literally on the border of Mexico, and for about 12 seconds, Billy wandered into Mexico by mistake, and he came back, and we were sitting there talking, and I was like, what do we really like about wrestling? What is it? And that conversation, and that's why we don't make bad deals. We don't get ourselves, we didn't sell we had an offer to sell half the company 2 weeks in after we bought it. And we decided we haven't done anything yet. it's hard to turn down millions and millions and millions of dollars, but
Right.
our story is about what this is, and that's like he wanted to and I was all on board, even if I was going to take less money, give up a lot more time, and do 70% of what I'm doing is nothing I've ever done before in this job. It's like doing talent negotiations, editing, shooting, like, but it allows me to be able to get the process right so that when we expand, I know where all the holes are. So when someone goes, oh, we'll do it this way. No, you want to be lazy and you want to do it that way. No, we're not doing it that way. So it allows us to have real sort of institutional control, which is a term he's used a lot, because if you don't have institutional control, then you're always sort of fighting uphill against somebody's wants and desires based on their what they're looking to get out of the experience.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like that's the way you plan to keep this, that you're not going to have anybody telling you guys what to do or compromising what you can do. And, it sounds like a successful formula, at least for your own selves.
Well, it allows talents to know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
They know where the buck stops. And they also know that we're not, none of us are, trust me, none of us are getting rich in this environment right now. It's simply it's very much a passion project, but
yeah.
talents for probably since the dawn of wrestling time have been told A and then they get B. But when I tell someone A, they're getting A. And that level of communication has not existed. And it really kind of is important to people to take a chance. And we're very genuine and very authentic, and I'm not going to carny you that, man, we got some big things coming. No, we're gonna figure this out, because that's the way the world is. And I can rattle off 20 YouTubers that are more famous than Brad Pitt right now, as far as in the market, as far as connecting with an audience and understanding how 2019, 2020 media works.
Yeah. Well, and as part of this, that you feel that you're blazing a new trail in some ways of whatever the product is, but you guys are doing things that others aren't, and it's the future. You see what's ahead.
Yeah, it's like the podcast movement. I had a podcast in 2011. I did it for 9 months, and once a week somebody brings it up to me, "Han, when are you going to bring that podcast back?" I wouldn't do it because there are so many now. There's only between AEW and us, there's only 2 original YouTube shows wrestling wise in the market, and like. That's why they pair together so well, because there is a desire by the audience to watch original content in that world. And, where we go next, who knows? Maybe there's a platform called TikTok that we might say, hey, we're going to do the first wrestling TikTok show, which is basically where it's like a lip sync video creation tool that I haven't even fully. Billy and I met with them in 2016 when they were, I think it was called Musical.ly at the time, but. There's these new things, and guess what? That's where young viewers are. They're not watching cable television. They're not watching cable television every night. It's just not. It's not what they grew up with, and it's for us. It's a very unique way to kind of create. And he's believing in a vision that we've come up with together. Or I'll say, hey, I want to try this documentary series. Okay, great. Just keep the costs manageable, and we'll go from there. So it's been really fun. And I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the finish line looks like, but, so it's a hell of a run between now and then.